Yo, what's going on guys, Arekkz here, welcome back to another Monster Hunter World video. Continuing with the Gamescom coverage, we are once again diving in to take a closer look at another one of the 14 weapons, and this time, it's one for all the green arrows out there. I am of course talking about the bow. If you guys have missed any of the Gamescom coverage so far, then be sure to check out the channel or the complete Monster Hunter World playlist linked down below. There are lots of weapon videos and loads more stuff coming too, so be sure to catch up if you've missed anything. Of course, if you do enjoy this video, then a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below if you have any questions, and be sure to let me know what you guys think of the revised bow. Now, to begin with, for those of you that are new to Monster Hunter, in the past, I always used to recommend the bow as the best entry point for anyone looking to try ranged weapons. It acted sort of like the bridge between blade masters and gunners, at least in my opinion. Where bow guns have various different ammo types to contend with, the bow has coatings for the arrows. These provide you with various status, elemental, or damage buffs for your shots. And it also used to be the easiest one to master on the mobility front. Of course, in Monster Hunter World, since bow guns can now move and shoot, that's not really something you have to worry about anymore. So instead, the bow sort of straddles the line between light and heavy bow guns, offering a good blend of damage, mobility, and utility thanks to the range of coatings available. It's incredibly fun to use, plus some of the new moves it has in World mean you can look pretty badass in combat too. Diving straight into the Hunter notes, you can see that right off the bat, your controls are largely similar to that of the bow guns, and you don't have a great deal of stuff to worry about here. Pressing R2 will fire at your currently selected arrow type, and holding down L2 will bring up the crosshairs. Again, movement while shooting in World feels a little different, but also feels very natural at the same time. If you've played any sort of third-person shooter where bows are an option, then you can sort of use that as a comparison point. You can hold down R2 to charge up the arrow shot, and each level or degree of charge raises the damage output. But note that whilst you're holding your shot, your stamina depletes, so you'll want to keep an eye on this. Additionally, while this isn't something that I'll go into great detail in this video, critical distance does still factor in World. For those of you new to the series, critical distance is essentially the optimal distance that you should be fighting at with this weapon. Just because it's a ranged weapon, it doesn't mean you should be sitting up on a rock 50 miles away firing arrows. On the contrary, despite the ranged nature of the weapon, you'll never be too far from the monster. If you land a shot at critical distance, the screen sort of shakes, but if it remains still, then you're either too close or too far away. But again, this is something I'll go into much greater detail on next year when I do my weapon tutorials. Pressing circle will of course allow you to fire off your special shot, which in this case is the arc shot, and pressing triangle and circle together will go into the Dragon Piercer attack. This is the new one in World where you scrape your arrow across the ground and you fire at this huge, explosive, badass looking shot that travels a fair distance in a pretty straight line and dishes out good damage in the process. Now, whilst charging your arrows, you can press X to perform a sidestep in the event you need to evade or just reposition, but you can also perform a charged sidestep following a shot. As you can see in this situation, following a standard shot, I'm then able to press X to dash in the direction I input and go directly into a charged attack. Now, I didn't manage to chain too many together here, but if you look at the top right hand corner of the screen, you can see following the first charged sidestep, I am then able to do it again. The input is up there, meaning it's something that I can press, but since it consumes stamina quite heavily, there are of course a finite number of times you can do this, unless of course you run dash juice, in which case you could start sidestepping into quick charge and be pretty nimble in the process. So that's something to test out later. Of course, during the demo build, we sadly didn't have dash juice, so that wasn't something I was able to test. Additionally, the power shot makes a return, so you can press circle following a standard shot to then go directly into a power shot. This is a move that effectively allows you to pull off a quick charge shot following directly on from the first shot, and assuming the damage works the same in Monster Hunter World, then it's typically +1 on the level you previously had charged. An example of that being, say, a power shot following a level 2 charge would then act like a level 3 charge shot, or following level 1 it would be like level 2. I'm of course making this assumption based on how it worked in previous games. Since I only had limited time in the demo, it's a little difficult to work this out for sure at this stage, but again, I'll clarify all of this 100% when I eventually get around to doing tutorials next year. For those of you that are new, just know that a power shot is a quick and easy way to sneak in some more damage following your first shot. Now, outside of that, there's not a great deal else for me to say right now. If we jump over to the weapon details page, you can see a list of the coatings that this particular bow supports. Different bows can of course use different coatings, so as you progress through the game, you'll begin to lean more towards certain types depending on how you want to play. This one has a pretty good range of status shots, and you'll also notice blast shots are a thing too, although there unfortunately weren't any blast coatings for me to test, so that'll have to wait until another time. But either way, that's pretty much it. Bow is a stylish entry into the ranged weapon offerings. It's always been my go-to if I ever wanted to play range, and it's definitely a lot of fun to use in Monster Hunter World. If you have any other questions, let me know. I apologise if I missed anything. As mentioned, we only had limited time to play each demo, and both myself and TwoSix were trying to test out all the weapons, so naturally there'll be more to dig into once I get more extended hands-on time. But for now, that is a more in-depth look at the bow. As a reminder, if you haven't entered the PS4 Pro giveaway, make sure to do so. It's running for the next week and a bit, and it's linked down below if you want to enter. Thank you very much for watching, take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.
Okay, you know what you have to do. Get in there and do your stuff. You're less likely to lose sight of a monster if you use the focus camera. The bow is a ranged weapon you can charge. Focus on your distance while boosting arrows. The scout flies will hide once the fight rings out. Don't forget that. Monster's been immobilized. Now's your chance. Dodge their attacks. You don't want to take hits like that head on. Yeah, you've mounted the monster. Now's your chance to topple it. Okay, it's down. Now's your chance to get in there and tear it up. Oh boy, that monster is really mad now. Be ready for some vicious attacks. Monster's almost done for. Chances are it'll retreat to its nest to recuperate. You need to load the slinger with some ammo. See anything useful lying around?